everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, September 24th, 2023. We got a portrait back, portrait back, portrait back. We got a portrait back, portrait back, portrait back, portrait back. Victor's portrait is back. Victor's portrait is back. Yeah! Yeah! Bask in it. I said to myself, can I pull that off? I'll leave the answer up to you. But the point is, the portrait is back. Victor's portrait is back. And I'm telling you right now, the best part of the week was the maintenance guy who hung the portrait, because he brought it in real quiet, like just the way an extra should be. Quiet, seen, not heard. But then he pulled the sheet off of the portrait, and without letting the audience see it, he just took an admiring look at it, just soaking in the man, the myth, the legend, the portrait. And then he just gave this little impressed nod and a smile, and then he hung it up on the wall, and the audience was able to behold it. And that guy totally won the week right then and there. Because he could have just put it up. They could have just had it there when the scene opened. But that maintenance guy, he saw it first. And with that look, he told us, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Get ready. And then it goes up on the wall and boom, it's like, hell yes. That portrait is impressive. Feel how you feel about Victor. That portrait is probably the most recognizable and arguably most important set piece on The Young and the Restless, and it just disappeared one day. I mean, it was swapped quietly so that Victoria could have her run, but I mean, the fans were kind of like, well, wait, that portrait, it just went away. And then, they know they're probably grabbing ratings right now. They're like, what do we do to get some ratings? Put Victor's portrait back on the wall, and it worked. It worked. But yeah, Victoria's run is officially over. Her portrait, has gone to a different office. Victoria's been brushed to the side. Victor's back in the main chair, and Victoria has been kind of pushed to an off-camera office, where I don't even know if we're going to see her. She did at one point have an office of her own, but at this point, she just seems to have been pushed off camera to an office. How humiliating for her. Oh. Daddy banished her to one of the lesser offices in the C-suite, because there's really only one office that counts. But, I mean, she must be absolutely humiliated, because certainly everyone in the company knows that she's been demoted after years of sitting in that office in the big chair, and now she has to go do the walk of shame to somewhere else in the C-suite. I feel for her. That's all I'm saying. I feel for her. I mean, I don't think Victoria really did anything wrong. By all accounts, she was a strong, steady business leader. Okay, never mind the fact that she almost got the company taken away by Ashlyn Locke. That was a rewrite, and we all know it. He needed to go bad so he could die and go away and get some ratings for that season. I mean, gee. I don't think she did anything all that bad. What? The worst thing she did was what? Find a hot guy to work side by side with? I mean, is that why she lost the job? Because she found Nate and put Nate second in command and really wanted to have a partner to run the company with? I mean, I don't know. Nick wasn't all that interested in the company, and he never has been. It was clear that Victoria was the heir apparent, and she had found someone to run the company with. Where's the crime in that? And I'm biased, but I mean, not for nothing, but if Nate were the hustler that everybody is saying that he is, everybody seems to think that he is, then, well, wouldn't Nate be over Victoria the absolute second that she had her power reduced? If all he cares about is power, then wouldn't he just dump her as soon as she got demoted? No, that's not been the case. He's still there, walking the tightrope, and in fact, he was discouraging Victoria from retaliating against Victor, but he's also covering up for Victoria and the fact that she's thinking about retaliating against Victor. Honestly, I kind of love, for dramatic purposes, that Victoria is questioning Victor's competence right now. It was subtle. There was this moment where she told Victor, you know, if I left, everything in this company would fall apart. And Victor had this great reaction where he just looked at her and he goes, what the hell is that supposed to mean? What the hell is that supposed to mean? I thought it was great. Like, he caught what she was kind of implying, but it was subtle. But then Victoria was much more clear with Nikki when she said that Victor's behavior is erratic. And it is. And next week it looks like Victor's going to name Adam as Nate's assistant. Ooh, wouldn't it be great if Victoria and Nate and Adam all partnered up to get Victor declared, I don't know, incompetent and then thrown out of his own company? Alcohol, bringing lovers together since the invention of alcohol. Polishing off a bottle of champagne together is a good, possibly the best way to just go ahead and dissolve any of that bubbly, fizzing sexual tension that's basically been going on since day one. Oh, that sexual tension it's been squashed over and over and over again. There's only so many times you can do that before it bubbles over. So Adam and Sally kissed. Where did that come from? It happened so quickly. It came from the land of booze. It came from the land of booze and repressed feelings. Oh, ratings grab. Adam and Sally kiss. Boom, boom. I see the strategy. Because it was quick. I mean, is Sally feeling insecure about Nick and Sharon all of a sudden? Because Sally's been all in on Nick and very clear that she wants Nick for quite some time now. And then, I don't know, maybe the thought of Nick and Sharon working together, alone together, without Adam, maybe that was enough to break Sally's spell. But there were no late nights between them. You know, she hasn't caught Nick and Sharon being intimate in any way. It's not like Nick is running off to attend to Sharon's needs all the time. Or, you know, all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's do a meeting. And all of a sudden he's running away from Sally. I don't know. It just happened very quickly. Nick and Sharon working together seemed like it was enough to turn Sally's head in Adam's direction. It took so little. Although I guess she's been kind of gravitating toward him over the course of about the last 2 to 3 weeks. And maybe it was also Nick's attitude last week toward Adam that sent her over the edge. It was like Nick kicked a puppy dog, so Sally had to run over there and make out with it. Oh, are you okay, little puppy? That's about the essence of it, maybe. Nick kicked the puppy dog and Sally had to go make out with it to make everything better. Well, they just started off talking and having the champagne, but then, I mean, she let him walk her to her door. They kind of stumbled there a little bit, and then he's been very clear about the fact that he wants her. He planted a kiss on her, and she probably knew it was coming, and she probably wanted it, because she totally kissed him back. And she didn't pull away, but she didn't invite him into her room either. It wasn't like it went any further than that. That would have been more scandalous. Honestly, I kind of would have liked it better if she pulled him into the room and they just had a night of passion. But I guess we're just planting seeds here. So, I don't know, do you think that Sally will tell Nick about it? Will she confess? Will she feel so guilty that she confesses to Nick? Or are Adam and Sally gonna play it off like nothing happened until it happens again? Tessa made it home just in time for Aria's appointment, and Tessa and Mariah had this really nice reunion at Sharon's house, and then they took it home to their house, specifically to the bedroom at their house. That bedroom does not look very Mariah and Tessa. I feel like it's too horsey. It matches the tag house. It has the right amount of horse for the tag house, but it just doesn't match them. I don't know. I did like the way that the scene was filmed, though. There were some really cool shots of them and their reflections in the mirror, and I thought that was very sensual and a very unique way to film their lovemaking scene. I'm sure that that means Mariah is coming back home. She's not going to keep living with Devon and Abby now that Tessa is back. So I guess the Devon and Abby arrangement was just temporary. No plot, no purpose there. Just something for Mariah to do for 2 weeks. Okay. Well, even so, Tessa's homecoming didn't happen at their house. It happened at Sharon's house. I wonder if a lot of that was also just that Y&R didn't want to put the tack house set back up. They were like, we're going to show you the tack house one time and then never again. Although, I don't know. We'll see where Aria's future health updates take place. Will it be at the coffee house? Will it be at Sharon's house? Or will it actually be in Tessa and Mariah's home? I don't know. But I did enjoy Mariah and Sharon's conversation that they had before Tessa got home, because Sharon actually admitted to Mariah that she's picking up on the fact that Summer has feelings for Chance. I really didn't think that Sharon necessarily connected that, because Sharon gives a lot of judgmental looks at everyone, and so the look she was giving Summer in the scenes with Chance, I didn't necessarily think were a slam dunk reasoning that she knew what was going on there, but she certainly did. She certainly knows that Summer is her competition now, and I think it will be interesting to see exactly how Sharon handles it, specifically because Summer is Nick's daughter. Summer is her former daughter-in-law. So is she going to feel like she can't take out the claws there? Is she going to tell Nick about it? I think that there's some interesting play to be had around this. I also really liked it when Daniel and Summer had a conversation about it all, because Summer's conflicted. I think she's not trying to stir up drama. She just feels the way she feels. She's attracted to Chance, but she knows that he's not available. But since when has that ever stopped anyone? Kyle's having the worst week ever. He got fired and he lost his little piece of side action. Yeah, Nikki told Audra that she knew that they were still together. And then Nikki told Audra to just go ahead and fire him. She's obviously just going to have to remove the temptation in order to get rid of this and to get any work done at the office. I don't know. Nikki is such a school marm. I'm surprised that she didn't whack Audra's hand with a ruler. I'm secretly calling her No Fun Nikki right now. No fun allowed, Nikki. I guess it seems like Audra was done with Kyle at that point anyway. I guess as soon as Tucker became available, suddenly Audra wasn't as interested in Kyle. That interest just sort of faded away. And yet Audra was acting all coy with Tucker on Friday, saying, "Oh, let me just clarify, that was 1 hour of fun and nothing more." But if that were true, then why would she drop Kyle like a hot potato immediately afterwards? She told Kyle, "It is over on all counts. He's gonna have to find somebody else and get another job somewhere else. He can go flip burgers somewhere if he needs to." I like that visual. I like the idea of Kyle in a paper hat and an apron working the grill at the Burger Beat. For all of Genoa City's late night burger needs, Kyle Abbott is there. He'd be the sexiest guy to ever work at Burger Beat. He looks so good in anything. Audra had no reason to dump him. But she also told him that he should go back to Summer. I mean, she essentially said, "You're still in love with Summer, so maybe cue into that." And maybe he will. Maybe Kyle's going to try to go have a reunion with Summer, only to find out that she has really, truly moved on. I mean, Kyle and Summer did have a decent talk this week. It was very friendly. Maybe cooler heads are beginning to prevail. So maybe they will have a reunion, especially since it seems like Diane and Phyllis are both separately wanting them to get back together. Smiling Kyle doesn't want to go flip burgers. Smiling Kyle wants to go back to Jabot, but he wants to have Billy's job. And maybe he'll get it, because 2 weeks ago, Billy and Jack were at odds, and then last week they buried the hatchet and made up, and now this week they're at odds again, and it seems worse than ever. They know that they have to fight off Tucker McCall, but they can't agree on how to do it. Billy wants to get Devon on their side, but Jack doesn't want to cause problems in anyone else's family over it. But Billy went ahead and talked to Devon anyway, behind Jack's back. It didn't seem to hurt anything. It didn't really seem to help anything either, but Jack didn't like that Billy went against his word. So this is actually right where I think the story needs to be. Billy versus Jack, squabbling over their little brotherly differences. Not over Diane. That was wrong move. Like, I like where we are now. Billy and Jack, just two totally different personalities. They're opposite sides of the Abbott brotherly coin. They're so different that, working together is going to be a problem for them. I mean, they're both equally entitled to be there at Jabot, but they both have two very different approaches. And so I think there's a lot to work with there character-wise. And then if we throw Phyllis on the fire, that's going to be really interesting. Because Tucker finally brought up the fact that Phyllis is swimming in debt. She was acting like a woman of leisure last week. No need to worry about getting a job anytime soon. She's free to just schedule lunches. Just lunch as much as she needs to. Casual lunch here, casual lunch there, all over the place. But this week, Tucker told us, and she admitted that she's $2 million in the hole over the insurance scam that she totally pulled. I mean, she can go ahead, Phyllis, blame that whole thing on Jeremy Stark, but getting the insurance money is how you were planning on skipping town forever after you faked your own death, so you were in on it too. And now it's time to pay the piper. So Tucker offered to give Phyllis enough money to pay off the debt. $2 million. I think it was $2.1 million. In fact, like $2 million for the debt, extra 100,000 for your trouble, just for your bank account, for your slinky dress fund, in exchange for some light hacking duties. Some light hacking, he says. And I thought it was interesting because, of course, I think we all thought that he was going to ask her to hack Jabot. But he didn't. He asked her to hack Billy instead. But personally. Hack Billy's personal finances. And she's going to do it, too. Sharon was not reassuring about Phyllis's job security at Kirsten, whatever we're going to call it. And Phyllis does not want to have to spend the next 10 years working off this debt when she has an opportunity to clear it all away right here, right now, if she's willing to ignore the little moral issue. That little issue of the morality of it all, of hacking Billy, even though Billy is one of the only people in the town that seems supportive of her. Daniel offered Phyllis a job, so she had a path forward. She had a way out if she wanted to take the long road. But instead, Phyllis is not about the long road. She put her finger up to the sky and she said, okay, I swear to God, one last time. One last time. Sure. She told Daniel about the debt, though, too. So don't you think that Daniel's going to wonder why the debt disappeared? How the debt disappeared so quickly? She's going to be talking about this massive debt one week, and the next week it's gone. Okay. She got $1 million up front. She's going to get $1 million when the job's done. And at the very end of Friday's show, Phyllis, Billy saw Phyllis sneaking up to Tucker's hotel room. He was peeking through the athletic club revolving doors, and there was this really great shot that ended Friday's show. It was really nice. But Phyllis was up there in Tucker's room, busting out a burner laptop from her bag. It had the packaging in it still, too. I loved that touch, the fact that she was pulling the laptop out of the plastic packaging and getting ready to get to work. But I just don't think it's going to be the job that Tucker described. I think that Tucker is trying to make Phyllis think it's just an easy one and done kind of thing. When I think he wants something else. I don't think Tucker just wants Billy's personal financial data. I feel like he could probably get that data anywhere as a matter of relatively public record. I think that Phyllis is going to get in there and Tucker is going to ask her to plant something. I think he's going to want to make it look like Billy is stealing from the company. That would really add some fuel to the Abbott family fire, and it would create a public scandal too. Who bought Victor's shares in Chancellor Winters? Well, the obvious answer would be Tucker, right? Lily made a visit to Victor's office this week to personally ask him about the who and the why. And I have to say, I thought that she handled him so perfectly. Just very deft about the whole thing. I mean, I feel like if he were actually losing his mind or becoming incompetent in some way, Lily would have found a way to smooth the information out of him, but he stood strong. He didn't budge. All he told her was that the person he sold the shares to approached him, which makes it sound like whoever bought the shares had nefarious intentions for the company, which, when paired with Billy's warnings to Devon about Tucker, definitely makes it seem like Tucker's the one behind it. But I've got to give major props to Y&R Chatter Sherrod, who is suggesting that maybe all of that is a red herring, and maybe the person who actually bought Victor's shares was Mamie. And in the previews for next week, Mamie is back. She has awesome hair. And she says that she has a matter of importance to discuss. I just can't think of anything better than that. Awesome hair and a matter of importance to discuss? Well, some very sad news to report this week. Billy Miller, the actor who played Billy Abbott from 2008 to 2014, has died. His mother released a statement that said that he surrendered his life to his bipolar depression. So this is really heartbreaking. Yeah, for fans, obviously, we didn't know him as a person, or I certainly didn't. But I think family and friends are grieving him in their own ways. But I think that we have a right to grieve him in our own ways. He was a big presence, and in daytime. And I think that it's very sad that he died so young. I mean, he was only 43, and he just seemed like the kind of person who could have gone on and been in daytime forever. Like, he just would have been a staple forever. And like I said, I didn't know him personally. I never met him. I never even saw his work beyond Y&R, but he certainly made an impact in the role of Billy Abbott. I mean, I think a lot of fans, when they think of Billy, they think of Billy Miller still. A lot of people will argue that he is the best Billy, and I'd be hard pressed to argue against that. He was phenomenal in the role. I certainly agree about that. He had a very, he sort of embodied the reckless intensity that the character of Billy Abbott had, and is supposed to have. But he was also very intensely funny and charming, and that's, I think, the mix that made him probably the perfect Billy, and made his run as Billy very memorable. Reckless intensity juxtaposed with that charm. You know, it's like he would do these things and you'd be so mad at him, and then you know, he'd find a way to charm you. I think he had a great chemistry, specifically with Chloe. And, of course, it was Billy Miller's Billy who held his daughter on the side of the road that night when Delia died. Those were incredible scenes. He was an incredible talent, and he will certainly be missed. So I added a spot to the website at yrchat.com if anyone would like to go there and, you know, post a comment, post a thought about Billy Miller, about the role that he played on Y&R, or the roles that he played on General Hospital. If I understand correctly, he had a dual role, or he's played two parts on General Hospital. Or if you're familiar with any of the work that he did elsewhere on TV and film. I also understand that he was a bar and restaurateur in the LA area. Maybe you have met him. Maybe you did have some personal contact with him, but I put that post there to bring all of the comments about Billy Miller together as one, and who knows, you know, maybe someday that'll be there and someone from his family or friend will come across it and they'll see all the fan comments, the ways that he touched people beyond his own immediacy, and hopefully that is something that will live there and stay there in the internet forever. So if you have a chance this week and you have some memories of him, please go there and leave them there. And yeah, gosh, Billy Miller, rest in peace. And with that, on with the show. And what an appropriate quote we had for the week. Break a leg. Yes, break a leg. Something that actors say to one another in the theater. But of course it was summer who said it to Chance during last week's show. She was congratulating him, or at least wishing him good luck on his promotion, which we haven't heard anything about. Sounds like he probably is going to take the job, and I guess we'll hear from him about that in the next coming weeks. But break a leg. The answer was Summer. Good catch. Henry, Naomi, Tina B, Dolores, Tanya, Brittany, Sharon W, and good old Marky. You guys got it. I like this quote. See if you can guess it. There's always going to be haters. Probably true. You can't please all the people all the time. There's always going to be haters. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Hey, a little bit of good news. In the previews for next week, Danny's back. Oh man, that preview of Danny walking up to Phyllis and surprising her, it lit me up. I couldn't believe it. I got an actual chill. Danny is back. Don't make me replicate the Chili's song here. We got our Danny back, Danny back, Danny back. I'm so happy. He's back befriending Phyllis, and I'm sure this is the time for the Danny and Christine reunion. I can't believe it. We're going to get it. Please, I need Y&R to take this slow, okay? Do not rush this. I need Danny and Christine to get back together, but I need it to take its course. I need to take it slow. I need Y&R to tease me and then please me and make my dream come true. Oh boy, on to your comments. Diana says, I think, Allie, that if you hadn't mentioned about Phyllis's financial situation, that Y&R would not have incorporated this into her storyline. I'm sure that Y&R had forgot about this fact and decided to use the information and make it a part of Phyllis's story with Tucker. We know this because Phyllis had mentioned that everything was fine with her, and this is now a great way to have Phyllis be under Tucker's thumb once again, as he recently tried to blackmail her. It could also be interesting if Phyllis and Tucker end up becoming romantically involved. That would really make Ashley jealous again and mad, and because she doesn't really like Phyllis. That could be some compelling drama. You know, I just realized that Phyllis basically just willingly agreed to be under Tucker's thumb again. She was so mad about what happened between them with the EMT guy, and she was so eager to get out from under his blackmail thumb, and now she's just given him the power to do it again, because if he goes down, he can very well point the finger at her. He's got something on her now. This was maybe not a great idea. But Jamie says, more please. Dark Billy is really striking my fancy. He seems to have landed on bite me, oh great one, when it comes to Jack, and I love it. I just hope that he thwarts Tucker's shenanigans and actually gets to enjoy being the top dog for a while. Side note, I am wishing with all my soapy little heart that Phyllis finds a way to double-cross Tucker and join Team Billy. Yes, that is the ticket. If there's any chance that Phyllis is going to double-cross Tucker and join Team Billy or do something to help Billy, that would make sense, because they did have that scene where she ran into him, and I think she was bracing herself for Billy to unleash on her the way that Jack did in a previous scene, and instead he didn't. He gave her a little bit of support, which few people have done, and now she's going to turn around and work with Tucker to stab him in the back? I don't know. Maybe she's got more up her sleeve. Naomi says that screenshot of Billy looking through the window at the athletic club tells a story. He's going to guess probably that Phyllis and Tucker are conspiring, but will he guess that he's the target? I'm not sure why Tucker is after Billy in particular. I thought Jack and Diane were his main irritants. I hope Billy and Tucker have an epic battle reminiscent of Jack and Victor. Yeah, that's a good question. Why is Tucker targeting Billy specifically? I don't know. Maybe he's just playing on the fact that everyone expects Billy to screw up, and so if he plants something with Billy's financial data, he thinks everyone will believe it. Because, I mean, we know Billy did almost lose the company in a bet, and he the yacht, or, gambled away the company yacht or something. So maybe he's just playing into the perception of Billy's reckless behavior. Well, Victoria says, I'd like to change Jack's nickname from Smilin' Jack to Switzerland Jack. Instead of trying to stir up trouble between Devon and Tucker, Jack asked Billy to stand down. Smilin' Jack would have been all over it, encouraging Billy to undermine Devon and Tucker's relationship. Then Jack advises Diane to let her irritations with Phyllis go. He even says he sides with Phyllis in one instance. Smilin' Jack would have been planning a payback for Phyllis because of her irritation toward Diane. Y&R Jack is very reasonable and level-headed now. Please give us a little Smilin' Jack back on our screen, especially with Victor. Yeah, I mean, Jack definitely let Phyllis have it, but you're right. He probably would have been planning some kind of revenge on her. Of course, then again, so would Diane. I think Diane and Jack are often happy, drama-free land for a moment, at least for the current moment. Sharon W. says, why does Jack continue to act as if Jabot belongs more to him than to Billy? Jack is really no more able to share his dad's business than Victor is to share his own company. I really don't feel that Jack and Victor are all that different, and they both are able to lash out and get angry when family members don't see things their way. Oh, hasn't Jack always acted like he's the most entitled to the business? Because he's treated Ashley that way for years, and now it's just Billy's turn. Sharon W. says, great meeting today at Society between Adam and Tucker. Tucker asks, have you ever been told that you overplay your sarcasm? Subtlety is the better choice. And Adam answers, thanks for the coaching. That was seen. It was almost like there was not a lot of plot to mention on, but that was good dialogue. The dialogue there is what was noteworthy. Sarcasm versus subtlety. Yes, that was a nice little piece of writing there. Well, Daisy says, I think it's easy to believe that it's Tucker that bought Victor's shares of Chancellor Winters, and maybe it was. But I think it may have been Ashley. I think Ashley would want to purchase Victor's shares so that she'll have leverage when she knows it's not if. When Tucker takes revenge against her. Tucker would never want his mother's legacy and son's company to be taken apart piece by piece, which Ashley likely has in mind if Tucker does try to go after Jabot. That's possible too. Ashley could be behind it. Good point. Oh, about Tucker and Audra. Ellen says, I sympathized with Tucker right up until he jumped into bed with Audra. Ashley changed their plans for the future on a dime. That's not a loving way to start a marriage. Tucker just sold his company. He wanted to start a new business venture with his new wife. Did Ashley say, hey, I'm still all in with our new company, but I no longer want to take over Jabot as a compromise plan? This is so poorly written that we don't know. Is this breakup a scam? If it's real, Ashley is one immature 60-plus-year-old who's more attached to her brother than she is to creating an independent life. Supposedly she was in love with Tucker but threw it all away because of... what now? And why isn't she in Genoa City? The whole thing smells fishy or just incomplete and illogical. Yeah, I didn't think of that. What if it's a plan? What if Ashley and Tucker didn't really break up and this is all part of their plot? I mean, that's certainly a possibility. Yeah, because otherwise it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. And it would have been such a good compromise to say, yes, let's still have our business. I just don't want to go after my family business with it. Diana says, I'm not surprised that Kyle and Audra got caught seeing each other, but I am disappointed that it was so soon. I was thinking that it was silly that Nikki just took their word for it, that they had stopped seeing one another just because Nikki said that they had to. Two lovers aren't just going to call it quits that easy. What was even sillier is that Kyle and Audra did not try very hard to be discreet. The two of them were seen talking immediately with one another as they chose to sit together at the athletic club where everyone goes, and then they chose a table that's right in the front of the doorway. Could they at least pick a more discreet table? It would have been fun to see Nikki hire a private investigator and see the investigator follow them around town. This would have been a more realistic way of them getting caught, as both of them had their jobs on the line. My hope now is to see Audra and Adam become involved, as Allie mentioned. There would definitely be an exciting and dynamic couple with a lot of chemistry, and I hope that's where the story's headed. Is anybody sad that Kyle and Audra are over? I thought they had some good chemistry. I think you're right, Diana, that we could have stretched out the Nikki part even more. The private investigator is a good idea. If we could have got some black and white photos of them or something. But yeah, it was over pretty quick. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed them. So it's a little surprising, I guess. Well, Laura says, when Sharon said Summer also likes Chance, I had to stop and figure out how Sharon and Summer are semi-related. Summer's dad is Nick. Nick used to be married to Sharon. Sharon and Nick have a daughter, Faith. Summer is Faith's big sister. Victor is Summer's grandpa, and Sharon's ex-husband and ex-father-in-law. We need more Chancellor babies to thin the bloodlines here. Yeah. You know, I was just thinking that this week, too, that Summer's into Chance. Well, it's probably because he's also the only guy on the show that she's not related to besides Kyle. Well, Sherrod says, Gary, you seem to have hit the nail on the head with the hammer. Sometimes a visit is just that, and there's no plot. I'm disappointed and mad about that. I needed Tessa to have a reason to step away from Mariah. I wanted that hookup with Devon. Just characters interacting is Dullsville. Well, I hope the conversation about Never Leave Me leads to exactly that. Maybe they'll fight over how Arya should be treated. I need some drama here. Nobody's happy all the darn time, not even gay people. Not even gay people are happy all the time. I like that wordplay. Yeah, there's no drama with Mariah and Tessa. All the drama is going to be about Arya, but it's also kind of off-screen drama, and we don't spend a lot of time with Arya, so it's not high drama, I would say. I feel like we need to bring Elena in on this. I feel like Elena would be the perfect person for Tessa or Mariah to have like a triangle with, but I think Tessa and Elena could potentially have some chemistry. That would give us a little something different there. Mariah and Tessa are kind of like Jack and Diane right now, where it's like we're solid. There's drama happening in the background of our lives, but we are solid. Yeah, they're happy. And they've been happy for a while. Maybe it is time to shake them up. Sherrod also says, well, viewers are trying to figure out who Victor showed his shares of CW to. It has to be Mamie Johnson. She's Devon and Lily's aunt. Plus, this would put her at odds with Jill because she has a stake in her company. If we recall, she told Jill at the gala that she turned that $1 million that Jill gave her to get out of town into $10 million. That would be so great. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, when Mamie came back to the gala, she said she had $10 million. So buying a stake in that company kind of makes sense. Chancellor Winters, I could see how she would want to do that. I could see how she would be coming back to try to reunite the Winters family or unite the Winters family. She's so dual too. This is one of the reasons I love Mamie, because she's so relevant to the Winters family, but she's totally relevant to the Abbotts too. She can be that heart for the Abbotts and the Winters. The Newmans need that. Just like we talked about last week, the Newmans need a heart. They need someone who, if Nikki and Victor can't be it, that kind of pulls them all together and goes and wags a finger at the stuff. Somebody who Victor would respect and listen to. And I just don't know that there's even anyone who would fit that bill now that Catherine's gone. Well, I like this from Naomi. She says, Lily has made the penthouse into a lovely home. Beautiful artwork and furnishings. I do not miss the goldfish picture at all. That goldfish. I think it was koi. I think it was like a koi picture. Yeah, it was fish. The fish picture. It's funny because when Lily and Devon were in that scene, I cued into the fact that Devon was behind the bar getting a drink and Lily was sitting in front of the bar. And for a moment, I forgot that Devon wasn't the one who lived there all the time because he just seemed like he was the bartender and she was there visiting. I thought that was sort of strange. I think I've forgotten that Lily lives there now, especially when Devon is there too. Okay, well, here's the hot topic of the week. Flashbacks. Let's get some comments about those fancy flashbacks. Diana says, I found the episode where every character had a flashback of their recent interactions with each other. It was one of the most boring episodes I've watched. I'm not sure how other chatters feel, but I don't care for flashbacks of the recent episodes as they often seem unnecessary and seem to be used as filler. This is the first time that I can recall almost every character having a flashback in the same episode. I really hope this doesn't become a regular thing that Y&R does. It takes up too much time. We need the stories to keep moving forward. These flashbacks just slow down the storylines. And T. Nicole says, I agree. The odd one here and there is fine, but that episode had way too many, and it felt disjointed and choppy back and forth. I enjoy the flashbacks that are a blast from the past. Say when Devon was talking to Neil, frustrated about dating with his hearing loss, or a young Nick and Victor talking about Nick working in Newman. But anything from the past couple of months can be very sporadic if it's necessary information to the current storyline. But we don't need flashbacks from the past week's episode, especially the previous day's episode. Also, the flashback that Kyle had about his time with Audra was way too long. Oh yeah, at first when the black and white flashback happened, I was like, oh well, okay, this is fancy. It happened to Adam first, I think. I think Adam was the first one, and then there was Victoria, and I thought, oh well, this is interesting. I like that it is an artistic way to show us the flashback. But then it kept happening. It's like in the next episode, somebody else is having it. Oh, now Lily's having a flashback using the same technique. And then now it's Kyle thinking about Audra and Nikki thinking about something. Nikki thinking about Kyle and Audra. And it just kept happening. And as the week went on, I was like, okay, well, this is a little bit much, and the fact that the flashbacks were from yesterday is definitely, it was a kick in the pants about it all. I appreciate the creativity of how it looked. I thought that was a really nice way to sell the flashback, because I think Y&R probably knows fans don't love flashbacks from yesterday. They had to know that people were probably not going to love this, but they gave us a little something, more creative way of doing it. So I do give them points for that. But yeah, I really think that the show is looking for filler right now. I mean, I don't know why we only have one writer. I don't know why this is going on, and I'm not going to assume that Josh Griffiths wants it that way. I mean, for all we know, this has been forced on him, and now he's doing his executive producer job on top of, having to be the only writer, and he doesn't really want to, and it just seems like, wow. I don't know if it's a budget cut related, but I do think the fact that we only have one writer, we're down a writing staff, means that we're getting more of this flashback filler material. And I think it also means that that's why we're seeing some of the stories change so rapidly from week to week. I really feel like they're just going for 1 week ratings. Let's get the week. Let's end the week strong, or get this day strong, or whatever. We got to get the ratings up. Let's do something shocking, and then we'll figure out next week. It doesn't feel like, because there's a lack of a writing team, a plan. It feels like there's a lack of a plan. I think the stories are moving very not cohesively right now, and maybe what we're seeing now with these flashbacks is a period of transition. I mean, if Y&R is 6 weeks ahead, maybe they've realized that some of this isn't working all that well. Maybe we're getting some flashbacks to buy some time, and maybe they're doing something to change that, or at least that's my hope. But I think I'm going to put a poll on this week, because it seems like these flashbacks have hit a nerve with some people. So you tell me, all these fancy flashbacks, is this a hit or a miss for you? Go to yrchat.com. Let me know what you think about the flashbacks. And while I'm at it, let's talk about last week's poll. I asked you which family you like better right now, the Abbotts or the Newmans, and wow, 67% of you picked the Abbotts. Not gonna lie, against like anything I would have thought I would have voted a year ago, I picked the Abbotts too. T. Nicole says, I voted Team Abbotts, but my decision was partially based on what family I would prefer to be a part of. The Abbotts have a warmer feeling to them than the Newmans, and also Tracy Abbott's a major sway in my vote. And also the Abbotts have Mrs. Martinez's cookies and Zippy the Fox. Yeah, I like the Abbott house better too. I'd rather hang out there than at the ranch. Sue W says, well, the key word is like, because as a human, I had to vote Abbotts. In general, they seem pleasant and genuine, and their house seems like a home. And in general, the Newmans seem prickly and pretentious, and the Newman Ranch seems more like a palatial place of residence. But overall, in my opinion, the Newmans are just one unlikable bunch. But make no mistake, I love them anyway. And all in all, I see both the Abbotts and the Newmans as great soapy dynasties. As a soap fan, my vote would be split. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling the Abbotts a little bit more right now, but I love them all on the overall. Oh, Ellen says, Victor's erratic behavior continues, pulling out of Chancellor Winters without any warning. That may be his right, but it's also disrespectful and bad business. Why all the secrecy? Victor thinks it's fun to play chess with other people's lives. He's untrustworthy. Ooh, and Sharon W says, today was at least the second time that Victoria talked to Nikki about Victor's inability to run Newman and make valid decisions for the company. Victoria tells her mom that he seems incapable of being at the helm. It seems that Victoria may be hinting that Victor could have dementia, or that due to his age, he's no longer useful. I know Victor and Victoria have altercations still to come, but with Victoria's anger, I just get the sense that her character may be intending to accuse her dad of being too old to handle the work. Hopefully I'm wrong. However, please be sensitive to many viewers who've been watching for 50 years. Growing older is a blessing, but it often comes with challenges along the way. As many say, money isn't everything, but across all incomes, it's still hurtful to not be needed anymore. Do you guess that I am somewhat older? Oh, Sharon. Yeah, you know what? And I really like that message. I spend a lot of time with seniors. And that is something that I feel across the board from them is, I'm not a senior, but I feel from them that, they want to even prove sometimes that they still have value, and they do, and I love them, and I see it everywhere. It's like sometimes I do think that younger people have a tendency to see older people as less useful, which is it's sort of an American thing, because I think it's different in other cultures where as you get older you become more valuable. You have that wisdom to share, and it shouldn't be brushed aside. And so I think this is a very interesting point that Victoria, in her, and she's probably 50, but she is seeing Victor at 80, her father at 80 years old, as maybe not able to handle it anymore. And I think there are some things probably that would diminish with age, and maybe Victor wouldn't be able to handle things the way that he did when he was in his 30s. But implying that there's no value there is hurtful. And yeah, I like it for the drama. I think it would be fun it would be heart-wrenching and horrible just to have Victor thrown out of his own company. But I guess I'm just sort of looking for some plot drama wherever I could get it. But I love that you're bringing up this human side of that issue. This is a really great comment, Sharon W. Thank you. And speaking of getting older, Southside Granny, your birthday is today. I'm sure you didn't age a bit. Happy birthday, Southside Granny. Oh my goodness. Yes, another year down. They do creep up on you, these birthdays. But we celebrate them, and we should celebrate the hopefully gaining of wisdom. It's interesting because I think getting older doesn't necessarily make you wiser. Again, I spent a lot of time with seniors, and some of them aren't necessarily wiser. I guess our greatest hope is that we gain that wisdom as we age, and I hope that for you, Southside Granny. I hope you have a wonderful day filled with wonderful things. I just kind of wonder if Y&R's putting Victor back in his place only to have him ripped away. It's going to be a really bad look on Victoria, no doubt about it, but I feel like they're going for that ratings punch, and they sure got it this week with the portrait. Gary says, well, Allie, how about that? Victor Newman's classic portrait returns to where it belongs. Maybe later you can still try to pick it up at auction. If there is one piece that I would love to have from that set, it would be Victor's portrait. How much would that auction for? What do you think? You guys guess. I mean, $1 million? I don't know. Oh my goodness. I'm sure whatever the price is, I couldn't afford it. T. Nicole says, I didn't realize how much I missed Victor's portrait until it was put back in its rightful place. Yes, by the amazing maintenance man, who Ellen says, that maintenance guy just wants a big Christmas bonus. Yes, he certainly knew who was buttering the bread there. And he made sure, I mean, he knows this is a vanity piece. There's no reason to have a portrait of yourself on your office wall unless you have an enormous ego. And this maintenance guy saw that, knew it, and stroked it. And maybe Victor will say, yes, I like that he was impressed with me. Give him a little extra something for in his Christmas stocking this year. Oh. Final comment comes from Tina B, who says, do you think that the artist who painted Victor's portrait is still alive? Oh, is the artist who painted Victor's portrait still alive? Good question, and I happen to know the answer, and the answer is yes. The artist is still alive because Victor had him put on ice. Okay, everybody. That is the end of the Y&R Chat for this week. I hope you had a good time. I hope you go to yrchat.com, leave some comments about the show. If you have some memories about Billy Miller that you'd like to include, I put that post right there at the top. If you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see it. And let's see what else. Vote in that poll. I'm kind of curious to know if you're in favor of the flashbacks or not in this style. I mean, I think we know flashbacks are going to happen. Is Y&R doing a good job with these? Let me know. Okay, well, I hope everybody has a really good week, and come back next Sunday. We'll chat again. I love you guys. Bye.